and we are now live running trains on the new side of the layout for the very first time. As you can see, we've got a via locomotive hauling some Amtrak cars, and we've also got the big boy over there. But yeah, it's exciting to actually do a live stream with this extension on the layout. Up until now, I've just been running things on this circuit, which, you know, has worked pretty well, but actually having some more trackage is definitely, I think, going to be a really good thing. Anyway, I'm going to quickly set it to live chat here. It looks like we've already got some people in here. Missouri Productions, welcome. UP 1988, welcome. When's the Selkirk? It probably will be the next video. I wanted to get this done before I did the Selkirk video, just because I didn't think it would be very exciting if I unboxed a nice engine like that and then didn't have very much track to run it on, so. Can you run any Pico trains? I'm not sure if I have any, to be honest. Train on. Finally release the Selkirk from containment. Yeah, it's been that way since like 2024. It's time to finally open that up. Do you have any 420s? I don't think I have one of those. Hello from Australia. Hello from Bradford, Ontario. It's a massive layout, and it's quite the extension, yeah. I have a question for you. Yeah, go ahead. You should get a BR Standard 4. I'll have to look up what that is. Can you run a subway train? We can probably get one of those going in a minute here. I'll run some of this other stuff around for a little bit longer, though. Can you recommend some trains for beginners? Well, if there's nothing in particular you have your eye on, you can just get yourself a basic Bachmann starter set. You can find some of them on Amazon for like 130 American dollars, which to me is a pretty good deal for a starter set. It's not the prices that they used to be back in the day, but it's about as cheap as you can get. Otherwise, if you have a little bit more money, I'd probably get a Walther's Trainline set or buy everything a la carte. Of course, you could just go right to Cato, but I think a basic starter set's not a bad way to begin. You could also buy stuff used. That's a really good way to save money. The only thing about buying stuff used as a beginner is that you might not know like what things are worth, and also the condition could be a problem as well if you don't know what kind of stuff you're getting and it has problems. And Alexander's question is, how do you upgrade different wheel sets for different model trains? Well, a lot of manufacturers like Rapido sell generic wheels, so they have like a freight car wheel and a passenger car wheel set, and you can pretty much add those on anything. As for locomotives, it's a little bit more complicated. Some brands like Walther's actually sell replacements for proto engines and for Athearn engines, but there are some locomotives that you can't buy replacement wheel sets for. Hello from Florida. I love how the layout is looking now. I model N scale, and it's amazing seeing things back up and running here. Always love your stuff. Well, I appreciate hearing that. Why is my Athearn Genesis not running? Well, I don't know. I mean, without looking at it, I can't say specifically, but if you have more of a description as to why it's not running, that might help. Like, if it's making sound but it's not running, the motor could be seized, or the gearboxes could be locked in place. If there's nothing going on, you might, if it's DCC, have a bad decoder, or the engine might not be picking up power. And never rule out your layout, because sometimes you can have an issue with your layout and blame the equipment. So what I would always suggest is that if you have an engine that's not running, and you're saying it's not running at all, put another engine on your track and just make sure the layout is all working first before you go taking things apart. Nice to see the big boy running. Yeah, it's great having it out on the new layout. Have you ever been to the train exchange in Edmonton, Alberta? I can't say I have. I was at Trains and Such in Calgary, Alberta, but that's probably the closest I've ever been. I've only been to Alberta once in my life. I'd love to go back there, but it's kind of far away. Can I DM you on Instagram to show you what the standard 4 looks like? Yeah, sure. What's your favorite soda? Probably Coca-Cola. I don't drink a whole lot of soda, but I find it's pretty good. What are your plans for the layout? Well, as I mentioned in the last video, I want to build a bridge which is going to go from here and connect up to a locomotive storage area. So that's the priority. I also want to link the mountain layout back up, which I've actually already wired this in so I can run trains on there again, but I actually want to connect the tracks so I can run trains from the line actually into that layout. And then after that, the plan is to build a circuit which is going to go up through this wall, climb up here, and then go into the other room and then actually go throughout the house. That's going to be a bit of a bigger project, but I'm certainly up for it. I already have some of the materials. When are you getting the Hershey factory into the house? I have no idea. I'm kind of nervous to move that building, honestly, just because I put so much effort into it that if anything gets damaged, it's going to be a lot of work to get it back into shape. You know, with the mountain layout and stuff like that, I don't have to rebuild it a specific way. With the Hershey factory, I do. So I definitely want to get it over here, but there's no timeline for that at the moment. How big is the Hershey factory? It's roughly on a 4x8. Do you have an IVET 2M tank engine? I don't think I do. Do you have any European diesels? I've definitely got some British stuff. I'm not sure for other countries though. I've got some British. I've got a couple of German engines. I think I have some Soviet stuff as well, not a whole lot. Are you planning on going to the Prescott train show on April 11th? I think there's a good chance. It's also supposed to be the Elmer train show coming up in, I think, about a month, so I might go to that too. How difficult is it to scratch build for your layout? It depends how prototypical you're being. Like, if you just want to build a random structure, you can buy these kits and they sell like brick and all the other materials like corrugated steel. So that part's not too complicated. But if you're actually modeling a specific building, it is kind of complicated because you need to take all the dimensions of the building and measure everything out. And so building something as simple as an air conditioner takes a long time because you have to measure out each point and get the base, the width, the height, so on and so forth. What's the story behind the Brow of Talent? If you're asking at present day what it is, it's still over at my parents' house. If you're asking how I got it, I ordered it off eBay, and the reason I wanted one is because in the city of Ottawa, we actually had a couple of Bombardier Talents. It was our first light rail transit system, which used existing freight track to actually build some sort of light rail as just a pilot project. It worked really well, and they were great sets, but unfortunately, you know, them being German trains here in Canada, it was hard to find parts for them, so they ended up getting scrapped. But yeah, just growing up with those, I really wanted to get a model of one, and so a few years ago I finally ordered one. Have you ever been to Caboose Stop Hobbies? I don't think I have. What happened to the old factory side of the layout that got destroyed? The factory still exists. It's just over at my parents' house, so I haven't moved it over here yet. But the logistics of actually getting it here, I have a feeling, are going to be really complicated. So, I don't know. I'm going to handle that whole thing very carefully. Why does my Bachmann split frame locomotive keep slipping out of quarter? It's a pancake motor. Fundamentally, just because it's not a very good design. Like, the axles on those are rounded, and so you have metal which is being surrounded by plastic, and then the plastic cracks, and so it's not holding onto that metal very well, and so it just slides around it. Sometimes if you roughen up the metal by actually sanding it and then adding some glue, you can make it last a bit longer. But fundamentally, you know, there's no changing the fact that it just wasn't a very good idea to begin with. Layout's looking good. I'm happy to hear that. You're on the Hiawatha. I don't think I have either of them here yet. I might have the Fox Valley one. I don't know. I'll have to have a look. I will go ahead and throw... I think I'll throw a subway train on as requested. I could probably just stop the big boy and actually run it with the rest of it. Let's see if... Will this go the other direction? Yeah, it will, so that's not going to work. I should put a trolley on the trolley line. I'll put the subway on the trolley line. Unfortunately, the subway won't actually handle the curves on that part of the layout. I can throw a trolley on there, though. I think the track on the trolley line needs to be cleaned. Sparky, welcome. And congratulations on 10,000 subscribers, by the way. What's the smallest HO engine you have? I don't know, would the Gandhi Dancer from Bachmann count? It's not really an engine, though. I guess that's a hand car. Probably my Whitcomb switcher. Do you get your trains online or buy them in store? I do both. I like brick and mortar hobby shops, but I will order stuff online pretty often too. If you come to the Prescott show, my son would love to meet you. He loves your channel. Oh, that's great to hear. It's pretty cool going to train shows and actually getting to meet some of you out there in person. It's just, I don't know. It's great, you know, seeing comments from people and everything like that, but it's so different when you actually get to meet somebody. Kind of see some of the faces behind these accounts. How are you going to manage to get your layout all the way around in your basement? I think it should be pretty straightforward. One of the walls down here actually already has a hole in it from there being some plumbing that was run through there at one point. So I'm just going to reuse that and build a tunnel. As for this side, I'm actually going to have to wrap the track around the wall, which is going to be kind of complicated, but I think it's entirely feasible. Already got the subway set all ready to go here. Whoop. Huh. Well, you call it the Angus Young Tunnel. Well, there won't be a tunnel on that side, but that would be clever. I think there's actually going to be a mountain because the height of this part of the basement is a little bit taller, so I'm thinking to keep the layout a consistent height. The track's actually going to have to go up. So I don't know, maybe we could call it the Angus Hill Climb or something. The art is convenient. Yeah, it certainly is. If you ever get down to Grafton, West Virginia, you're more than welcome to stop by the local Railroad Historical Society where we get everything up and running. You can see the Grafton Yard and modeled in HO. Well, thank you very much for the invite. Show us your O-gauge stuff. I have the O-gauge stuff here. I moved it over. It's just not set up at the moment, though. How many models do you have as an estimate? Can you run a Santa Fe F7? Yeah, I can definitely do that. How many models as an estimate? I'm going to say there's probably about 600 or 700 locomotives at this point. I'm not so sure about rolling stock in terms of freight cars and passenger cars and all that jazz, but it's probably lower. I think the amount of locomotives I have exceeds the amount of rolling stock, which in my opinion is the right ratio, but some may disagree. Are you going to travel down to see 4014 when it goes east to the East Coast this summer? That's the goal. I'm not sure what the closest point would be. David Z to G-Skill is actually talking to me about that, and he seemed to think it could be Scranton, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. More stock than locomotives is better. A lot of people would say that. I personally like having more locomotives to run with the same rolling stock, but I get why most people like having more rolling stock. It is more realistic, if that's your thing. Have you ever heard of Pico trains? They're the only brand of 1 in 87 scale trains I've seen for sale in my city and country. I have heard of Pico. I don't think I have any of their locomotives, but I'd be open to getting some. They have some starter sets, which I'm kind of tempted to try out. They're just not that common in Canada. Should be in Scranton, yes, and then in Philadelphia for the 4th of July. Are you from Canada? Yeah. Ever been to Texas? I can't say I have yet. I have been on both coasts of the states, though. I've been on the Floridian side and also the California side, so a lot of places I've been throughout the United States, mostly on the East Coast, but yeah, a lot of places I've visited out there. As per the website, the stops are Omaha, Nebraska, Chicago, Illinois, Buffalo, New York, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Altoona. Okay, I mean, in my case, Buffalo might be feasible. I went through Buffalo last year when I went up to Cincinnati to visit Entertainment Junction. Which province are you in? I'm in BC. I'm from Quebec, but I'm on the border right beside Ottawa and Gatineau, so I know Ontario pretty well too. You think you'll ever visit Wisconsin? I would really like to. Me and my dad were actually supposed to go there in 2020. Unfortunately, the trip got canceled for a reason a lot of people probably suspect. But yeah, we were actually going to go see the whole Walther's warehouse back then, and then we never ended up going. But I definitely want to make my way back out there at some point. And Spurky says the Timidum train show is a good one to go to October 7th. It's an hour drive for me, but a great weekend had by all. Well, it's good to know. Have you ever been to LA? I have been to LA. My uncles both used to live there. They were actually in an apartment which used to be owned by the Santa Fe. So that was kind of interesting. I really liked visiting the city. I got to ride the train at Disneyland. I can't remember if it's Disneyland or Disney World, whichever's around LA, but yeah, I got to check that out. And I also got to go to a train store. I want to say it was called Ernie's. That place was really cool too. It was right after my birthday too, so I had some spending money and I bought a whole bunch of stuff. including a Bachmann CSX-8, which was $30, which was a great deal. It's a great time. Would you ever model Pan Am railways? I don't know if I'd model it, like actually build parts of the railroad, but I'd definitely be willing to buy some Pan Am locomotives. You see a lot of those out in Maine. Can you run a BNSF? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll switch that out for the big boy here. You should really be running the subway cars in the other direction too. There we go. Can you still run the brass locomotive using both tracks? I haven't tried it here yet, but it's probably feasible. If I did a good enough job gauging the track right here, we might be able to run it all the way from that corner over there. Do you have any Milwaukee Road locomotives? I have the Hiawatha. It's possible I have some others, but that's the only one that's coming to mind right now. Disneyland is in California, Disney World is Florida. Okay. I can never remember which is which. I just wanted to ask if you talked about the tunnel designs in the new layout. I thought you had talked about it one time. Have you ever considered to have a train on the ceiling? I think that'd be fun. Well, now that I have this place, I could probably do that. I'm not sure how I would set it up. I definitely want to have some plexiglass just to make sure I wouldn't have trains actually, falling on people's heads down here, but I could probably do that. As for adding tunnels, there are a lot of people suggesting that I add a tunnel right there. And I actually have a tunnel portal, which would be perfect for that. I bought that before I started this whole project here in case I wanted to do something along those lines. The only thing is that if I have any really tall pieces of equipment like double stacks or locomotives like the GG ones with the pentagraphs, I don't want that to bottleneck me, so I don't know, we'll have to see. That was weird. You're planning on hanging some airplanes? I really should. It'd be easy just to put some tacks in the ceiling and make that happen. Please run a Norfolk Southern. Yeah, we can do that. See if this thing derails again. I think it might have derailed on this switch right here and then finally derailed here. See if it throws the front wheel off again. Maybe. Mysterious. Might have some adjustments to do there. I'm 13 years old. I've been watching your videos for years. You're the reason I started a model railroading channel. Well, I'm happy to hear that. HO Train Guy, I'm pretty sure you were the one who won the contest 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Christmas display contest, I believe. I am still going to run a Norfolk Southern engine, but somebody earlier wanted me to run an Australian engine, so I'll throw this on. Put it on the other way though, just for the sake of running stuff the opposite direction. Guess that controller's not plugged in. How does it feel being in a different place? Overall, I'm really liking it. It's definitely made the video production a lot easier, and yeah, things are going well. I mean, this house needs a lot of work, but it's all starting to kind of come together. Okay, good. I got that plugged in. The derailment might happen when the radius is too tight. It's entirely possible, but I think it might have had something to do with that switch there. There we go. Greetings from the suburbs of Chicago. And as for finding that Norfolk Southern locomotive, I'm pretty sure I have an SD40-2. Just trying to remember what part of the shelf it's located on. Let me have a closer look here. I recently grabbed your layout and track requirements for the layout you did for a friend's kid. Thanks. I'm just starting to build one for my grandkids. Well, I hope everything goes well with that project. If you complete it or along the way want to send pictures of the layout to my email, I'd really appreciate it, because there's a lot of people out there that say they're building copies of some of the layouts I've created here on the channel, but I've yet to actually see a lot of them. Ironically, the only one I think I have gotten pictures of is through Facebook. I was just browsing one day and I was like, huh, that's funny. It looks exactly like the layout I was building. And then I realized, yeah, I'm following this S&T guy's layout. And I was like, huh. Yeah, I'm not seeing any Norfolk Southern engines off the top. Oh, wait, here it is. Do you have a Class 47? I might just start putting more labels on the bottoms of these things. I don't think that that's one. I love the way you're building your layout. I saw your layout plans video or two ago, and it looks like the basement masterpiece. Great ideas to go for. Oh, thanks. I hope it all works out. I have to say this first part seems pretty good. So run more equipment on here. I'm going to be curious to see if I run into any issues, but so far, I really like how this is working. Hi, SMT. I'm German and 14. I want to give you a big thanks because of a lot of your videos helped me build my layout. Well, I appreciate hearing that. One in 72 scale planes would look good above the layout. Walthers once offered some small private jet planes, DC-3, that were supposed to be HO. Yeah, maybe some Bombardier products. Need one of those cars to hook up the different styles of couplers here. Here are the lasses. Have you ever bought an SD79? I don't think I have one of those. Do you still have the Super Chief? Yeah, I certainly do. I'm gonna have to try running it through the new part of the layout. I bet it would look tremendous drifting through there. Yeah, coupler works the first time. That's nice. I was watching your old videos, Harrison. I noticed that there were often people a few decades older and they were watching you at the same time. Yeah, well, I don't know. All sorts of age groups watching the channel. I think I had one guy, he said he was 98 or something watching the channel. I thought that was pretty cool. So I probably don't even have to do that with the subway because these look pretty well speed matched. How big is the new section now? I haven't taken any measurements, but I think that this is roughly 9 feet from here to the end over there, and then it's probably, I don't know, maybe another 10 feet across. Get this back out on the main line here. Of course, the engine detaches over there. Nice. There we go. I'm gonna give this a bit of a head start because I think the freight train's a little bit slower than the subway. Some of us are antiques. Well, I'm sure to some people out there, 25 probably means nothing, but in a few weeks I'm going to be turning 25, and in the province of Quebec, once a car becomes over 25 years old, it becomes a classic. So in a way, I'm going to be becoming a antique soon. I'm sure there's a bunch of guys out there shaking their heads and saying, you don't know anything about that, but I just thought that was kind of funny. What do you think of Bachmann click-together track? I mean, if you're just starting off, it's fine, but I definitely wouldn't build a full-fledged layout with it. I find the rail joiners over time wear out, which is one problem. The steel track is obviously not great, and that's with any brand, even besides Bachmann. And the riser set is not great. What hour is it for you guys? For me, it's 6:50. I think Chloe's coming downstairs with the dog.
Hello.
Hello.
That's a Mavi dog, man.
A Mavi dog? It's the slickest, trickiest, dopest dog I ever did see. Don't get the black road bed. Well, that's the kind with the steel rails. Navaruski?
What's my snack?
Yeah, you're not supposed to eat those, dog. It's not good for you.
It's not like a dog.
Did you give him any treats upstairs?
No, it's not like a dog.
Well, if you want to bring the bag down here, I'm sure he'd love you for that.
Daddy, you gonna get treats?
Yeah, looking after the dog. My sister was going out and the family's out having dinner. So she asked if I wanted to look after the dog, and I was like, yeah, I'd be happy to have the dog over. So he's staying at Uncle Harry's. The channel got a new mascot. Well, Mav has been featured, I think, as early as 2024, so he's not new to the channel, but yeah, he's not my pet. Well, he's kind of mine. He's family dog. Look how happy he looks.
Hold on. I need to put my snack down.
Are you anywhere near the Belleville area? I think I'm about 4 hours away from Belleville. What? Can we show them some of his?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, is this? Oh, these are just dental sticks. No, I'll go upstairs because there's. Yeah. You want to read the comments while I'm gone?
Sure. But I thought he could chew on one of those. Harrison, what's up? When's the showing of your Thomas collection? I don't think he has a Thomas collection.
I don't have what?
A Thomas collection?
No, I don't have any. I've got the Thomas wooden stuff from when I was like 2 years old, but that's about it. I don't have any other HO stuff. Anyway, we've got some sort of a special treat for the dog. Hey, Mav, sit. No. Okay, this is a new trick my sister taught him. Wave.
Good boy.
Good dog.
You want me to bring in a little piece so we can chew on it? Or?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of another trick he's been taught.
Roll.
Oh, here, I have to move into a bit of a bigger space. Here, Mav, sit. Nope.
Sit.
Sit.
Down.
Bang.
Oh.
Bang. He's not doing it.
Bang.
Mav, bang.
Bang. Bang.
That's a good dog. That's a good dog. Yeah, it's my full attention now.
Sit. What else do you know? There's a bunch of things, but it's kind of hard to show on camera.
Hey, Mav. No. Whisper. 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 That's a good dog.
Boy.
Very cute.
I want to try to roll one. How many can you have of those?
You can probably give him like 2 more and then you should probably stop.
Sit. Down. Down. Roll. Roll. Roll.
Mav.
Down. 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 Roll. Okay, well that's good enough. I don't know what's the sign your sister does.
No, I think you were doing that correctly. I think he's just a little bit too wound up because there's food involved.
You're crazy. Okay, one more. What do we do? Wave again?
Sure.
Wave is really cute.
Yeah. Yeah, Mav.
No, sit.
Sit.
Wait. Wait. Good boy.
That's a good dog.
Good boy.
I've never heard a dog whisper in my life. This one's built different.
Oh, you did such a good dog.
Do you know when the Elmer train show's happening this year? I think it's April 25th. Mav, you already had like 5 treats, dog.
Maybe I can get him the chewing thing?
Yeah, you can probably give him one of his dental sticks now.
Okay. Well, I'll let that go.
Do the subway cars work on the innermost loop of the street? Unfortunately, they just can't handle the radius. It's a little bit too tight. I could probably modify them because most stuff when it comes from the factory, you know, can't handle super tight radiuses, but sometimes you can make some adjustments and get these things to run tighter than they're rated for, but it's a little bit janky. Perfect show to binge while I cook.
Gentle. Good boy.
Where's Nerf Cat? Nerf Cat, for anybody who doesn't know, unfortunately passed away in October of last year. It was just before I moved into this new place. He passed away at the ripe age of 17 or 18 years old, but he had a heck of a life.
Do you have to watch him when he's eating milk?
No, I don't think so. Do you have any advice on how to wire 2 double pole, double throw switches for a 2-track layout? It's a bit too complicated to explain, but fundamentally you need to wire both controllers up to 1 switch, and then you have to have a second switch for the other loop in order to alternate. Have you ever thought about putting N scale at the top of the mountain for forced perspective? I think I'm probably just going to put an N scale layout which will actually slide out from under that area right there, because there are already tracks for the HO stuff on the mountain layout. Is Mav the mythical airsoft dog? That might be a good name for him. I don't know.
No, that's not for the Maggie. That's not good for the Maggie.
Hey SMT, I have some N-scale stuff that was in a house fire. Do you want them, and how would I send them to you? I have all O-gauge stuff if you want to have it. Well, if you want to send me an email, I can see what I can do there. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that fire. The 2 trains that are running, are they DC or DCC? These are both DC, running off 2 different controllers. You would think we starve him based on how he acts.
Show his face. Don't look so sad.
You hear that loud pop?
No.
I don't know what that was.
Did you?
Yeah, I heard a pop.
Yeah.
You're in 777. Yeah, sure. Okay, I can't find 777, so I'm just gonna put 767 with a Canadian National locomotive behind it, and you know, I'm sure no one will notice. Aussies do smile. Yeah, this one definitely does. Big old happy dog.
Would it be better if I take this, the trees away?
Yeah, probably. It's probably like torture just having this thing on the table. Are you gonna have a different scale in each room? Kind of. My plan right now is to have a layout which is gonna go right against that wall in the other room, and it's gonna be a multi-scale layout. So it's gonna have Z scale operating, O scale, G scale, and then have a track from this layout running through it. But that's about it at the moment. Didn't you close the P.O. box temporarily? I did, yeah. Would you consider putting a turntable somewhere in the new section? Well, a lot of people have been suggesting that I build a roundhouse right over here instead of building a mini yard for the locomotives. Logistically, I'm not sure if I want to do that, just because the whole purpose of building this yard is for locomotives like the big boy, which are kind of tricky to put on the track because you have to get a bunch of different wheels on. And so in order to have a roundhouse that would accommodate those types of engines, you'd have to have something huge, plus a turntable, which would probably take up like half the table. So I'm not sure if that's going to work, but it's not off the table. I just need to think about it a bit more. What do you think of the Hornby 040 Thomas? I don't know much about it. I think that's the wrong wheel configuration, though, because I thought Thomas was a 060. Kind of a multi-ledge plateau. I've seen a layout that had N skill on the top, HO next, S skill, and O skill. Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure yet. You should get an Australian steam locomotive. I already have one, which I got in a junk lot. I just need to restore it. And somebody's saying to tell Mav that John Blair says hi.
John says hi. He says hi back.
This is this thing that the dog does. When somebody's not giving him treats, he just goes to the next person and he's like, maybe I can fool you. I bet you'd give me some food.
You're gonna be sick if you have to me. Yeah. We don't want a sick man. Come here.
Somebody's asking me to run a CSX AC 4400. I don't think I have an AC 4400, but I do think I have a Dash 8. I'll see if I can find it.
Find the train with Harry.
Yeah, we need to teach the dog which is which. He can just go fetch them for me. Be like, Matt, get the BNSF.
You have a job?
Matt, get the Elco.
Now your job is to be there and sit pretty, Matt.
Yes, we want a calm dog. Nice, sleepy, tired Australian Shepherd. Yeah, my sister said he was supposed to be really tired. Apparently he had a busy day, like, running around. She was like, yeah, he's gonna fall right asleep. You can never underestimate the energy levels of the Australian Shepherd. Like, they can just go and go and go. Maybe when we finish off the live stream and take him for a walk. I'm sure if I threw on a pair of cross-country skis, Mav could probably just tow me along for the walk.
Oh yeah, definitely. Where is it?
Over here on this side.
Going what?
No, I'm just looking for the CSX engine. I don't know where I threw it into storage. Well, I guess it's gone. 777's on the shelf. Yeah, I probably just missed it. At least we got the other one, though. Hey, SMT, does the Canadian Pacific SD90 still run? If so, yeah, we can definitely run that. I'm not sure if this thing can handle the inside radius, but the Australian engine is a similar size, so maybe. We'll try it anyhow.
Good boy.
Do you prefer the AC 4400 or the C44 9W? I need to know which you prefer. I'll be completely honest, I don't know what the difference is. Okay. It's fired up, but it's not moving, so maybe this thing can't run on DC. I'll just switch it over here. I wonder if this will keep running if I just neutral drop it on a DCC. This is probably a bad thing to do, but that didn't work. Oh no, it did work. It's still moving. Cool. Now, as for this thing, I forget if it's programmed to 3 or if it's the road number, so anyway, let's see what happens here. Nothing. Get the other two. Okay, and those are running now. $91.24. Okay, the controller's doing some weird stuff. I might have to do a factory reset because this is odd. So that right there is a DC locomotive. You can tell because the headlights are on and it's humming right here. And this is DCC. What's weird is that even though I have this set to address 9124, which is for this locomotive, and that's DC, which should be 00, when I turn up the power right here, that's also moving. And this is barely moving. Did I somehow pair these? Is that what's going on with these dots? That could not be good. Let me try to get this going again here. Let's see, 91, 24, loco. Yeah, it's barely moving, but the horn's working and everything else, so I don't know what's going on. Guess I'll just run something else. It's the road number. I just watched the video. Oh. Actually, maybe I will leave this on because this is like train show speed. I'm kidding. We'll get something else going here. How many GS4s do you have? I think about 7. How many are working at the moment is a whole other story. The drive shaft probably failed again. I don't know if that's the problem because the motor, like I couldn't hear it revving, so I think it's more of an issue with my DCC controller just doing weird things. That controller has problems. I think I need to replace it. What I really feel like doing is running some old garbage with this. Yeah, come over here with me. We're gonna look for a trashy engine.
Sure.
There's 777. Having said that, though, yeah, I want to find something kind of rough. I forget if this thing works. If it does, we're gonna use that. Trashy. Well, I mean, this is definitely trash. I don't know what happened here, but yeah. I think I just shorted out the entire layout. Oh, yeah, it's lively too. Good. You're using a Union Pacific F40B unit? Yep. When do you think you'll get more intermodal cars? I'm not sure, but if I do, I'm definitely going to get more of the Walthers metal ones because the plastic ones I got are not great for staying on the track. It's not trashy, it's just cursed. I don't know. I mean, it's missing a lot of parts, and it definitely wasn't a very clean job. It does work, though. The Union Pacific did have some GP7 or GP9B units in the 1950s. They had a round porthole window where each cab would normally be. Well, I've heard that a lot of B units had a very basic control system, so they weren't meant for, like, you know, obviously taking trains on a long haul, but just for moving them around the yard, they had a very basic, like, throttle and brake and a window.
Got an adventure now.
You should make a train game. I'd play it all day long. I don't know how to code very well. Hey SMT, do you have any layout reviews? I just designed my first layout in one called Scarm. I have used Scarm before. It's pretty good, but I'm not sure how many track varieties they have. The software that I use is Rail Modeler Pro. It's kind of expensive. I think I paid $50 or $70 for it. But the one thing I will say about Rail Modeler Pro is that it covers every scale, and they have pretty much every type of track from every brand there is. I was really surprised that they even had things like from Frateschi, which is kind of a niche manufacturer. So it's expensive, but you buy it, and it's super helpful if you do build a lot of layouts. But yeah, there's Scarm. There's another one too. I think Atlas has their own track planning software, which of course is specific to their track brand. I'm not sure what other ones there are though. AnyRail is good. I've heard good things about AnyRail. Atlas software is based off Scarm. I'm not surprised. They look very similar. Yeah, that will work. How many small locomotives do you have? Probably about 30. Will the Canadian National Daylight GS4 ever have a video of you repairing it again? I want to see the clip of it destroying itself in a video. Well, yeah, I can definitely go record that out of the live stream. As for repairing it, I definitely have plans to. I just want to come up with a solution that's a bit more permanent, because the last time it held up pretty well for the amount of time I ran it, but we can do better. There's got to be a solution to fix those things for good. Do you have any tips for cleaning flooded locomotives? Okay. First of all, if the engines are underwater, leave them underwater until you're ready to dry them out, because if a locomotive is underwater, it's actually not oxidizing that bad. It's only when it's exposed to air the oxidization picks up its pace. So if you have engines in a flooded basement, leave them in that water until you're ready to get them out. Then once you get them out, a really good thing to do is actually to rinse them underwater, especially if you're dealing with like a hurricane where you have salt water. You can pickle the engines, which basically means you're just running fresh water to get the salt out. And then what I would do is just try to dry it as fast as you can, take it apart. The best thing to do would be to completely disassemble the locomotive. But if you can't, just try to dry it out as best you can. And then once you have it fairly dry, run it and just keep everything moving, because if you let it sit, that's when the oxidization allows the dissimilar metals to react with each other and cause things to actually seize up. Throwing a little bit of oil in everything can also help. So yeah, just do that. Flooded engines are usually salvageable. I feel like this train had more cargo on it. Am I mistaken there? Huh, guess so. I'm really excited to see the completed layout. Yeah, you and me both. I can't wait to get some more stuff operating on here. Are you going to update your N-scale layout? I think I'm going to hit the reset button on the N-scale layout and build something entirely new for it. Something that will slide under this part of the layout. Remember the Acela incident? Yeah, I remember that well. For anybody who doesn't, there was one day I just got a brand new controller and it was a lot stronger than my previous one, and I was kind of messing around with how fast I could get the Acela to run. And at the time I had 18 radius curves, and I actually sent it flying off the layout. Smashed into like a million pieces. I still have it. It actually still runs, but yeah. The units had what was known as Hostler controls. The Union Pacific put Hustler controllers on preserved steam locomotives so they can run MU with diesels. I've heard about them doing that with steam locomotives. The local tourist railway, if you've ever seen that Swedish steam engine I've had on the layout, that engine had a diesel helper, and they actually did put MU controls in the steam locomotive. Do you have any American Flyer trains? I have a bit of American Flyer HO and also some S-scale. How many Streamliners do you have? If so, can you run one? I'm really wondering. I've got some streamlined steam locomotives. I'm not sure the specific number of them, but yeah, they make up a decent part of the collection. Sadly, Rail Modeler Pro is a Mac exclusive software. I didn't know that. I'm surprised. Usually it's the other way around. There must be something equivalent for Windows. Do you have any draper? I don't know what a draper is. Like a Dawn draper? Puppy dog cam. Mappy dog! There's a sweet dog. Sorry, I don't have any food for you, dog.
Like, how dare you?
Yeah, he's like, you tricked me. You brought me over here under false pretenses. The dog is named Maverick? Yeah. He always has this this look of surprise on his face. You break my heart, dog.
You got so many treats.
What a gorgeous dog. Yeah, he is a handsome boy. Can you run the Blue Goose on a freight train? Yeah, I don't see why not.
I mean, come get your bone, it's here. I gave him this bone and he wanted some food for about 2 seconds.
I think he's just trying to get more food.
Yeah.
It's all your world revolves around, eh, dog?
That's not food, that's food.
Can we make it into food?
I'm sure he would love that.
A Draper Taper is a diesel locomotive that is narrower in the back than in the front, like an EMD BL2. Oh yeah, then I probably have one.
No drum queen.
First time I've ever heard that. Okay, so the Blue Goose does not have enough get up and go, apparently, to haul this many cars. removing a couple of the coal cars, and we'll see if the reduced weight gets it moving here. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. I haven't seen the four-legged fellow in a while. Yeah, well, looking after him for the evening. Typically, he's at my parents' house, but yeah, tonight he's visiting.
Abby. She won. Not so many shoes. Yeah,
The blue goose, yeah. How's the new house? So far, it's been working pretty well. As for a basement tour, I need to clean up the other rooms right now because I've got a lot of construction materials in them, but there's going to be some more stuff with expanding this.
He's breaking my heart.
When we finish off the live stream, I'll take them for a walk. They were designed by William Draper. Yeah, I'll have a look to see if I can find a BL2. Yeah, you don't have to. I already took them out before I started off the live. Yeah, I don't think I have any of my BL2s over here at the house at the moment. I think they're still at my parents' place, but I definitely own some. Some hobby shops are closing in the United States. If anyone gets a chance to save the pre-built layouts and take it home, I've heard stories about people doing that. I think there's actually a guy on YouTube, I can't remember the name of his channel, but he did a whole video of saving his childhood train layout. It might have happened a couple times, because I remember, I don't know, I want to say I was like 14, and I saw this video of this guy. He had a channel, it wasn't even about model trains, it was about electronics. But I guess there was this hobby shop that he had been going to for a really long time, and they had this layout, which he always thought was really interesting, and they were going to throw it in a dumpster, and so he took it home. Houses in Texas don't have basements. Well, I guess out there's probably less of an issue of freezing. The Blue Goose is winning the race. I'm not surprised. I'll put them both to the floor. We'll see which is faster. I'll have them both rush around the corners here. All right, full throttle. Yeah, I think it's safe to say the Blue Goose still has the edge in terms of speed. The Athearn is not falling behind by a long shot, though, especially since it's on the outer circuit. I'll slow that down before I end up throwing a rod. Have you ever thought about making an exhibition layout? Yeah, I'd love to build a small layout and take it to train shows. Maybe that can be the next layout build series on the channel. Bring some different famous pieces of equipment and actually put them on display. Hey SMT, I'm actively working on making my own version of your 4x8 layout right now. I'm gluing down the track. That's great to hear. If everything goes well with that project. And Chris says, SMT, which building material would you say is the cheapest and lightest you can get for building layouts? Foam or cardboard or something else? Probably styrofoam. I mean, cardboard is cheaper, but it's not lighter than foam. I don't think it would be as sturdy. Foam is a pretty good material to build a layout on. I've done it several times, and honestly, it's worked pretty well. My only real concern with it is the whole risk of if it lights on fire, like it did with Ken Patterson's layout. You know, it's basically plastic with air in it, so that's the only thing that concerns me about foam. Other than that, I think it's a great building material. Cardboard is great for mountains and stuff like that, but in terms of actually laying track on it, I don't know. It starts to wear out. What's being put next to the yard? Well, what I want to do is take all these buildings and find homes for them in this area. So I was thinking of maybe putting the mill like right here and then stuff like that. I've already put the megawatt factory there. We'll see. Foam like EVA. I'm not sure which kind of foam. Definitely not beaded foam. If you're going to build a layout on foam, I would definitely go with closed cell and probably about 2 inches thick, just so that it's sturdy. But part of the reason I built both of the layouts for other people out of styrofoam was because it made it a lot easier to move. You want XPS foam. I did build one layout on beaded foam, and it does work. It's just not as strong in my experience. Like, it's less rigid, and also beaded foam, if anybody's ever shredded some of it apart or tried to cut it, it makes such a mess, whereas closed cell, it's pretty clean stuff. Der Deutsch Professor, thank you so much for joining in, and thank you very much for the super chat the other day on the layout build video. I really appreciated that. Also, speaking of super chats, I think I might have missed one here. Oh, Gary M became a member for 11 months. Thanks for that. And Henry the Train Spotter says, hello from Australia. Can you run your Spirit of 76 locomotives? Yeah, we can definitely get a Spirit of 76 engine on. Get this one running. The Blue Goose is about to pass 767 again. Yeah, it does look like that. Okay, that's weird. On this one section of track, the Athearn is pulling away for a second. I have to throw a nail in that piece of track. Hello from Pennsylvania. Happy spring. I hope spring comes around here soon. We're supposed to get another 5 centimeters of snow. I'm trying to calculate what that is in inches. We've been getting a lot of snow. It should be melting right now, and instead we're getting more of it. I've got some family in Sudbury. Apparently, the other day they got 3 feet of snow. The roads were all locked up and everything. It's a mess. There's the Spirit of 76 for you. 5 centimeters is roughly 2 inches. Okay, so it's not a terrible amount of snow. It's just at this time of year, I don't want any more of it. How to send me more snow? Traction tires for the win. Yeah, this thing is rowdy. That's half power right there. There we go. That's full jam. I was tired of it this year, and we got about over 3 feet this winter. I'm happy spring is early here in northeast Pennsylvania. That's lucky. Hopefully that pattern starts here. Oh my goodness. Got a $100 super chat. Good night, Harrison. Everyone enjoy the chat. Well, I appreciate that a million. Put it to good use here on the layout. Very generous. Goodness gracious. Raven says thanks too. That's nice. Do you have any Genesee and Wyoming stuff? If so, can you run it? Sure. Here's one. This is actually from their Australian division. It's a bit dusty. That's better. I got another super chat for 49 bucks. Thank you so much, Robert. Keep it up, kiddo. Here's another 50 for the layout. Well, it all helps a great deal. Thank you very much. Can't believe that. What was that? Whoops. Looking good. Nice start on the rebuild. As mentioned, a street view would be cool. If you ever get a picture in capability, it'd be cool to see trains roll around in the former mode. I'll take my camera off the tripod here and get some different scenes of it. Chloe's going off to deal with the crazy dog. Let's see if I can get one of it coming around the mountain, as it were. There we go, foamer mode. Yeah, I need to get my Railfan voice going. Hi everyone, welcome back to 4449 Productions Railfanning Foamer channel. Today we're on the northern subdivision of the left hemisphere, railfanning the Spirit of 76 and Australian Genesee and Wyoming equipment. It'd be cool having another rail going under the two bridges for the highway. That would be nice. You should team up with Eric's Trains. Well, I have nothing against Eric's Trains. I like his channel, but I don't know a whole lot about him, to be completely honest. I think he's more of a O-scale guy. Oh, what an epic shot that is. Yeah. Full foamer right there. I've always wondered why the Australian F7s were so long. Well, hey, this has a lot in common with an F7, but technically I don't think it is an F unit. It's a CLP something, same cab, but I believe the reason they built them like this was because the trains were long, so they needed a lot of pulling capacity, but some of the track in Australia being built on sand was not very stable, so they actually had to add more wheels to the locomotives so that the weight was divided. That's at least what I heard for the B-class engines. Used to watch the Red Green Show. Yeah, absolutely. Love the Red Green Show. I don't know if I can make this happen, but the guy who plays Red Green, I'm trying to remember his name. It's something Smith. He's mentioned a couple times. He did some skits on the Red Green Show, which involved model trains, but he actually used to have a show before the Red Green Show, which was the Smith and Smith Show, which is where the Red Green character was invented. And in that show, there was an episode where he mentioned that he and his wife got into model railroading because I guess they got their sons a train set, and then it kind of turned into a hobby for them. So Steve Smith, that's it. What I would love to do would be to see if I could actually get him here on the channel for an interview. I don't know if he would actually visit this place, but it'd be pretty cool to, I don't know, do some sort of a collaboration. Again, no idea if he'd be open to that, but you never know. I did see him do a collaboration with Junkyard Digs, which is a automotive channel. Quite a bit bigger than this one, but you never know. The setup has surely grown since the last live stream. Yeah, absolutely. Gone are the days of just running stuff around in the little circuit there. We've actually got a full-fledged layout. Are you making a DCC layout, or is this the DCC layout? This layout's a hybrid. It runs both. Junkyard Digs, I know them. I started watching them because I got a 1986 Chevy Blazer. It's a pretty good channel. I think it's probably... I don't know if it's my favorite automotive channel, but it's definitely in the top 5. Is it possible to make the bridges fold up so you can walk through without doing a lap around the layout? It's not impossible. It would be easier to do it here than it would be on this part because there's no curve, but trying to make that work would be a bit of a challenge. Can you talk about the uncompleted storage yard? Well, if you're talking about this is going to be for locomotive storage, but if you mean this, I'm planning on extending it back there. I actually moved this shelf over, so that's all ready to go. But yeah, I want to extend this. I want to have a track which is actually going to go over the shelf and through the wall in the basement over there. And then on this side, I'm planning on running a track which is going to cross a massive bridge over this area, and then it's going to link up to something here. And then it goes straight across again. And then in this corner, I think we're going to have a mountain where the train actually climbs up into the other room, and we'll figure out some other stuff. One benefit to having the step right here is it gives a pretty good bird's eye view over this part of the layout. Are you going to the biggest model train show in Canada on the 25th and 26th of April? I wish I could, but I'm pretty sure that's out in Alberta or something. So it's a little bit far away. And Donald's, thank you for the super chat. Can you say hi to my son Emmett and tell him to keep up his great grades in school? It's the coolest fan you have. Well, Emmett, thank you for the support. I do appreciate it. And yeah, keep up good grades. It will pay off in the long run. It's in Calgary. Yeah, that's what I thought. Chris says, SMT, do you feel the hobby is all dead in Canada? Here in Toronto, we have one hobby shop left, no train shows, maybe 1 to 2 train clubs. Are things much different in Ottawa, Gatineau? I don't think the hobby's completely dead, but that's kind of concerning. Out here, it's not like that. There's at least 3 train clubs in the Ottawa-Gatineau area. Both of which are quite lively. A lot of members are quite active at. And in the Ottawa area, we've got 3 pretty well-established stores. We've got the Hobby Center, which is more of a general hobby shop. They do have some model train stuff, which it's enough you could get started in the hobby, so that's good. We've got Hobby House, which is really well-established. And then we've got Larkspur Line, which is outside of Ottawa by about an hour, but that's a really good train store. So things at the moment aren't looking too bad, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised. You'd think in Toronto, given the fact that it's a much higher population, there would be more options. Because I will say in the Ottawa-Gatineau area for actual trains, there's not a whole lot going on. Hello from Buffalo, New York. There's Panther Hobbies in the Greater Toronto area and George's Trains. I think my friend Nick might have gone to Panther Hobbies. Do you have many Lima locomotives from Australia? I think I have one or two, but that's about it. Are you still doing YouTube as your primary job, or do you have a 9 to 5 to do also? I'm self-employed, so YouTube is part of it, but I also have like a bit of a furniture constructing business, and I sell recycled boat parts, things like that. So I have other sources of income besides the channel. But yeah, I'm self-employed. I used to have a job at a restaurant. I ended up quitting that, I think, in 2024. It wasn't a bad place when it started. It just kind of went downhill. And everybody else I knew who was working there also quit, so I'm not the only one. You're lucky you have friends with you. Yeah, well, having friends who are in the hobby in your area is huge. I know if you're in a really remote location, it's not very likely that, you're going to find people who are into model railroading. But truth be told, like, I didn't meet a lot of the guys my age who were into model railroading for a long time because I didn't even know there were train clubs in the area. Like, a lot of these things are not very well advertised. So I will say, if you want to meet like-minded people, look very carefully and ask people, like, if you have any connection to the hobby, if it's a train store or you do know a train club, try to kind of, I don't want to use the term network because it's way too corporate, but you know what I mean, like interact with people, because sometimes you can discover there's a lot more people not too far from you who are into model railroading. Because, yeah, I met Nick the Train Nerd, Justin, Liam, who's Canadian Behavior, Mark and Chris. I even got connected with some people that my grandfather used to work with at Transport Canada, which was pretty cool. So yeah, dig around. Sometimes you can find more people than you expect. If you ever come down to Calgary, you should visit the Calgary Train Man. It's the oldest train club in Canada. That's good to know. I'll definitely make my way out towards that other side of the country again at some point, but it's just so far away. And that cross-Canada trip I went on with my friend years ago was crazy. Every day there was something else going on. It's a tornado chasing us one day. And my friend's dog was pregnant. There's so much stuff going on. I'm frankly surprised I didn't lose all the trains I bought at Trains and such, because when the tornado was going after us, the van my friend had, it had so little room that I had to put all the trains up in the roof rack, and the roof rack had a latching issue. And then, yeah, we have this tornado blowing us all over the road, and I thought, that's it. Like, the roof rack is going to pop open. The trains are going to be off in some field, but at the time, that was the least of my concern. I was more worried we were going to get, vacuumed up by the tornado, which we weren't actually that close to it, but we were definitely feeling the effects of it. The only saving grace is that my friend's van had so much junk weighing it down because it was a van life van and it had like cabinets and stuff. It probably had another 1,500 pounds helping to weigh it down. That was the only saving grace with that whole run home. Mav.
Are you just trying it?
SM4, thank you so much for becoming a member. This dog destroys toys like there's no tomorrow. You buy those toys on Amazon that are like highly rated by people. Oh yeah, no dog can destroy this. They underestimate this one.
Let's see if I give him Santa.
Yeah.
You get Santa?
Yeah, go get Santa Claus, Mav.
Hey, Santa. Hey, Santa.
What are your plans to link the mountain layout to the rest of it? Roughly, I haven't got the angle of this right yet, but I want to have some sort of a cross section here. It should be a good start temporarily. I did at least wire this in though. Like I'll find an engine quickly. Mappy dog, do you like squeaky toys? Whoops.
Look at it. Wow.
Yeah, so I do have this wired up so I can at least run things on here again. If anybody else watching this live stream has a dog within earshot, I'm sure the squeaking.
Wow.
If you ever wanted to make a shop critter, yeah, absolutely. I probably should. I'm sure I have enough spare parts laying around to make something like that. Matt, get over here. Come on, Matt.
Let's hear it.
Hi, dog. Come on. He doesn't trust me when he has the squeaker. He's like, you're just gonna take it from me.
What you doing with Santa?
Mav. Come on, dog. Mav, Rooski.
Let's see.
Nah.
It's like, nah, I'm not falling for this.
Do you guys still have snow up there? We've got tons, and we're supposed to get another 2 inches of it tonight. This is going to be a late spring. I think we're going to be shoveling into April this year.
Honey, kiss Santa.
We didn't get any snow in Utah this year. When did you get a dog? Well, the family's had him since 2024. He's been in some other videos and live streams, but yeah, I'm looking after him at the moment.
Oh, okay. Did I have Santa? Honey. Did I have Santa?
He's not gonna let me steal the.
He's not even gonna let you go.
Gonna have to do some dog wrangling out here. Come on, Matt. Nah. Fine, I'll just walk off your dog.
It's Santa.
He didn't fall for the old runaway trick. Oh, he's-
Play with him.
Can you run a consist of DCC engines? I don't know how to MU them. Oh! He faked me out. Almost got him there. Mav, you doofus. Run a BNSF, please. Yeah, we can do that. Mavaruski. Yeah, you better run away with the squeaker dog.
Can I have Santa? No?
I'm gonna have a headache at the end of the night from that squeaking.
Maddie, where's Santa?
I love it when he's thinking and he makes these like "Arr" sounds. Yeah, that.
What's she doing? No, go see it?
Oh, whoops! I forgot about the Santa Fe. Now it's running backwards. We'll see if it derails. It might be okay. Oh yeah, look at this cinematic shot with both engines running on either side and those. No snow in western New York State, but it's starting to turn to spring. It's still cold. Well, I can't wait for things to get warmer over here. I want to start being outside more and get the boat running. Get the Regency out of storage too. Do you have any sirens in Ottawa? If you mean like tornado sirens, I don't think so. I'm not sure if we have any others. It's been cold here in Toronto. Yeah, it's been a brutal winter. Usually, I find winter here, the way it usually works is around the end of December, the snow finally shows up. And then in January, it goes crazy. And then after January, it stays usually through March and into April. But this year, it started early. It was like mid-November. And it didn't melt off, so that was pretty weird. Yeah, I was really lucky. It was literally the day I moved in here, got all the furniture over, was the day it started to snow. Me and my dad were taking the rental truck back to the place, and there was snow on the ground. So anyway, that was the only saving grace, which was that it held off just long enough to get everything over here. I'm running 2 live streams at the same time on a split screen. Oh. Who's Mav's favorite? Oh, probably my sister. I love what you did with the layout so far. Oh, I appreciate that. Still got a ways to go, but as Bob Ross would say, this right here was kind of a happy accident. For any of you who have seen the video, originally both curves were side by side, and then I ended up moving this one out. But there's something I really like about the tracks separating here. I don't know what it is, but I'm thinking I'm going to leave it this way, and then maybe in the center I have like a bunch of ballast, some shrubbery, and maybe like a maintenance of the way crew, like kind of lined up beside the track with a bunch of equipment, like some high rails and stuff like that. It's just an idea. I don't know. There's still a lot that needs to get sorted out, but that's what I envision here. I gotta say, so far I'm quite happy with how this is performing too, because other than the equipment I was running on this side when I made the video, I haven't run a whole lot of stuff. So far in this live stream, getting to run tons of different engines, I'm impressed to see that a lot of it seems to be working pretty well. Do you think I can start a layout as a first timer, like do one of your basic layouts? Yes, I do think that somebody could build one of those layouts if they hadn't built a layout before. If you're gonna build one though, I would probably build the 4x8, because the 6x4 layout is, or the 4x6 I should say, is a little bit trickier because you've got that double layer thing, whereas the 4x8 is pretty easy because there's just a couple risers. But yeah, take your time, and don't get discouraged if things go wrong. Like if you watch those layout build videos, even after almost 20 years of being in the hobby, I still run into problems, things I didn't expect. So as a beginner, you're probably going to encounter issues and stuff, but don't beat yourself up over it. How do you run feeder wires? A lot of people might be surprised, but I generally don't use feeder wires. Most of my rail joiners are soldered, and for a lot of the rail joiners that aren't soldered, I basically just run a wire that doesn't actually go under the layout. It's just like you've got the joiner, and then the wire kind of goes around it. Have you thought about making a huge bridge? Yeah, well, that's the plan. I want to build a bridge which goes all the way from there to somewhere in this corner. Because originally I was planning on building benchwork around this entire edge, but I really don't want to ruin this. I really like this piece of artwork right here, so I just feel like having a bridge will kind of leave it intact. Like it will kind of look like this bridge right here. It will just be all black, and then it will, I think, kind of blend in with the background. And then on this side, I was also going to build benchwork, but I've decided not to do that just because there's not a lot of room right here. And so I just think that, you know, want to have people over to run trains and stuff, and we're all trying to walk through here. Once you add, I don't know, let's say another half foot, it's going to take up more space. So I just don't want to be going too crazy. And I know some people would probably say move this over, but I can't do that because then the bench is also pretty close to that wall there. So I think that's about as good as it's going to get, but there's more area in this house to expand into. So even if, you know, I have to limit how much I build over on this side, fundamentally it's not going to stop me from being able to add more. A huge suspension bridge would look great. The only thing I've been really, I don't want to say struggling, because to me that's a word for things that are actually hard in life, but the only thing I've been contemplating is how I'm actually going to build that bridge, because obviously they don't sell a kit for such a thing. So building a bridge that size is probably going to require 3D printed parts. To actually support it, I was going to use brackets, which I'm just going to try to blend in with stuff that's already in the scene. But as for the material itself, I don't know if I should build it out of OSB or if I should use a piece of ply, like a regular 2x4, or what the case is. But yeah, it's been the only challenge, is actually figuring out what I want to build it out of. Because I want the bridge to be kind of low profile. Like, I don't want it to be too thick, otherwise it's going to block a lot of the painting. Or the print, I should say. I guess one idea is I could actually go and buy some steel and actually build a genuine steel bridge. Wonder if anybody's ever done that before. Aluminum. That might be the ticket. Although the benefit to steel is that if I have to make any custom parts, I can do some welding. I've never welded aluminum before. I have no clue how. I have done some really basic welding with steel. I'm far from an expert, but grinding and paint make me the welder I ain't. Use rivets. Yeah, that could be an option. DB Tech, hello Harrison. I've been raking leaves and replacing brake rotors today. Well, sounds like it must be a little bit warmer for where you are in Pennsylvania there, David. I can't say it's been the same here. We're supposed to get another 2 inches of snow, but hopefully what's going on right now in the States, hopefully the warmth will come up this way and things will get better. And Zach says, hey, Harrison, greetings from Pennsylvania. Myself, my son, and 2 daughters are watching. Well, huge hi to the whole family. We just got 30 inches of snow in Wisconsin. Oh, no. I'm not really surprised. I was saying earlier, I've got family up in Sudbury, which, as the crow flies, I feel like is probably... I don't know how close it would be to Wisconsin. It would still be far away, but further that direction. And yeah, they got 3 feet, so... yeah, crazy stuff. Sudbury's about 10 hours away from Green Bay. Oh, okay. Do you recommend feeders or soldering rail joiners or both for my DCC layout? If it's a larger layout, I would probably run feeders. I know I said that I don't. So I'm also just changing my track so often. I don't really want to rewire stuff on the bottom as well. But yeah, if you want really reliable connections, you can put feeders. Soldering rail joiners, to me, is a really good idea in certain cases just because it kind of works twofold where the rail joiners are not going to, you know, bend in funny ways and stuff like that. Like you save a lot of issues by soldering your rail joiners. The only thing to keep in mind is that just like on a real railroad, your tracks, as your home heats up and cools down, need to expand and contract. So you can solder quite a few rail joiners, but every so often you need to put a thermal expansion, which is basically where you put a joiner, but then you solder a wire like from here, and then you literally just run a loop to the other rail so that the joiner can still open and close, but it's electrically solid. Because rail joiners on their own, they'll be good for a while, but eventually you'll start to have issues with them if that's all you're relying on for electricity. So either run feeders or solder your joiners, and then every so often put one of those expansion joints. And I think the reason rail joiners wear out is because of the actual weight. Like, you know, a model train doesn't weigh a whole lot, but you run these things for enough time and the track flexes just a little bit, and that little bit of flexing, you know, the metal starts to fatigue, and before you know it, the joiners are kind of loose, and then you start having electrical infidelity. But yeah, just as a rail joiners are very thin material, and they've gotten thinner over the years. Like I have some of my track off my dad's old layout, and the joiners they were putting on the brass track in the 70s are way thicker. I'm trying to see if I can spot one here. That's a new joiner. Yeah, I don't know if I have any examples, but the 70s joiners were thick, and now they're razor thin, which looks more realistic, but it also means they're more susceptible. But yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. You can get yourself a piece of wire. Bare wire is really optimal because you can kind of hide it better. But anyway, let me see if I can find a couple pieces here. I'll also use these two for the heck of it. Yeah, so every so often for the joiners that you don't solder, you leave a little gap and then you solder a wire just like that. And then as the temperature changes, these can open and close, and it relieves pressure, because what happens if you don't do that is the track tries to expand and the rail has nowhere to go, and then it can create kinks in the track, or it can cause the rail to lift up. It can do a lot of funny things. DCC or DC, what's your favorite? Personally, I prefer DC. It's just simple. You put power in the track, the engine picks it up and uses it. DCC is a whole other ball game where you're always running full power in the track, and then you have to have a decoder, which is like the gatekeeper between, you know, the track and your motor inside the locomotive. Having said that, even though I prefer DC, there are a lot of benefits to DCC. If you're going to be running trains with other people, definitely go with DCC. If you want sound and lighting features, definitely go with DCC. Generally, if you want really realistic operations, go with DCC. But if you just want to run some trains around, DC is great. It's cheap, and it's pretty reliable. I prefer school. Haven't heard of that control system. What about AC, like O-scale models? I don't know what kind of systems they use for digital control in O-scale, to be honest. But obviously, you know, DC power and AC power, they're not the same thing. But a regular, like, I don't know if an O-scale engine has a decoder, like if it's digital. Because with DCC, you're running full power, but it's also not DC power, it's DC squared, which is alternating, so it's kind of like AC, but it's not exactly the same. Like, it's not the same kind of AC power that you would get out of, like, a Lionel controller. Or it's not the same kind of AC power that runs in your wall. I mean, obviously the voltage is different, but it also just doesn't function the same way. Probably ACC. Doesn't matter if you like AC or DC, it's still awesome. What is interesting is that because like a transform, well, not yeah, the transformers in these controllers output AC power, so you have to have a rectifier which converts that to DC. Because of that, the accessories terminal on a DC controller can actually power O-scale stuff because the accessory side is AC. So if you have a O-scale locomotive, which doesn't need very much power, you can actually just use a regular DC controller just hooked up to the accessory side. I've done it a couple times. I'm sure it's really hard on the transformer, but it is possible. Three-rail O-scale tends to use one of three systems: TMCC Legacy, Lionel, and DCS for MTH, which, by the way, is their newest boards, and they have DCS, DCC on board. Huh. Yeah, I'll have to do more research into how digital systems work with O-scale, because a while back, some of you might remember, I did that live stream with Chris from RBP Trains, and I was asking him about that, and the way he was explaining it to me is that each brand, kind of as what was just described, has its own proprietary system for digital control. So Lionel has their own system, and so does MTH, so on and so forth, which I find really confusing, because in HO scale, you can pretty much mix and match whatever you want. You can have a Digitrax controller running non-Digitrax equipment, so on and so forth. And generally, everything works together, which is the most impressive part, I think, of model railroading, particularly in HO scale, which is that you can mix so many different brands together, and it all pretty much works. Like, I find it crazy that my grandmother's Hiawatha from when she was a kid, and my dad's Bachmann engine from when he was a kid, and my Lifelike engine from when I was a kid, all operate on the same track with the same controller, so on and so forth, even though they're all completely different eras and from different brands. Do you still have your Bachmann Acela? Yeah, I sure do, and it's still running. Rail joiners hold dirt and love moisture. That can cause corrosion in them. Yeah, I could see that. I guess it depends on where you are too, because like I'm guessing if you live in a place like Florida, the humidity is probably a bigger issue. Like, humidity does exist in Canada. There's no denying that, but I haven't had like there are some people that say, oh, I bought steel track and it only lasted a year. And I've got some steel track. It's not great stuff, but I've never had that kind of problem with it. So I guess it probably also just depends on what climate you're in. Do you have any Lionel trains in HO scale? I've got a few. I've got the Polar Express. I've got... I don't know how much of it I have here, but I've actually got some older Lionel HO stuff. Because Lionel has just been in and out of the HO market for, I want to say, about 5 different times. I feel like there's been about 5 renditions of Lionel being an HO scale manufacturer. I've roughly got something from each era. Here's a 70s Lionel HO model. For anybody who looks at this too, you might recognize it as being identical to the Bachmann engines from the same era, and that's because it is. Lionel had contracted Kadar to build the GS4s, and then Kadar ended up buying out Bachmann, and I think they pretty much just kicked Lionel out and started producing the exact same engines under the Bachmann name. I'll have a look too. I have a Grand Trunk engine, which was also Lionel. But yeah, it's funny. Lionel cannot make up its mind on HO. It's like either they rebadge some other products, like they rebadged Athearn engines for a while, they rebadged Rivarossis for a while, or they come up with some weird house brand, which ends up being a bit strange too, like some of their Michigan-made models. Those were actually pretty good, but pretty unusual looking. Run a Hiawatha. I don't think I have it here. Do you have any Athearn Genesis models? Yeah, I've got a Via one. See if I can find it. Supposed to have 6 inches of snow tonight. Yeah, I think they're, well, not 6 inches here, but I was saying earlier there's supposed to be 2. I forgot to take this subway train off. I wonder what would be the easiest way to do this. My goal is to get these passenger cars out on the main line so I can run the Athearn Genesis Via engine. Okay, I know what I'm going to do here. That out of the way. Now what I can do is just line this right through. Very good. Shift the layout over to DCC, and now I think I can probably just throw the Via engine on here, and then I'm going to try to back this train out of the yard. The Via's horn is real. Yeah, it's impressive just how good the sound is. Here it is over on the far side of the layout. I really like having this thing today, but If I was like 10 years old, I would have freaked out having one of these locomotives having sound. That's why I love my Athearn Genesis. It's loud. It sounds like you're running a real train. It actually has presence. SMT, do you watch any other train-related YouTube channels? Yeah, quite a few. Watch classic model trains. Darth Santa Fe. Scott Rails. Eminem Rails. Shut off the sound. It's great, but make things a bit quieter. Yeah, I'll check out my subscriptions here. There's a lot of model railroad channels that I quite like. Any update for replacing the gorge? I have it here. I just need to reinstall it. Hey, SMT, did you hear that ScotRails is going to be replacing... ScotRail is going to be replacing its old HST units with new locomotives by early 2026. I personally like the look of the new ones, but I'll miss the old HSTs. No, I was not aware of that. They're probably going to end up over in Mexico. I've heard that there's some HST engines in Mexico with knuckle couplers, which is interesting. Oh, first derailment. I wonder what caused that. GFW trains, yeah, I'm just looking through my subscriptions. So GFW trains, they just started up again. That's a father-son operation, and they're mostly O-scale guys. And they've got some pretty good stuff. Their primary thing, I would say, is live streams. Watch Trains Now. Okay, this is a channel that I would consider quite underrated. Definitely one I'd recommend checking out. Yeah, is this guy right here, Watch Trains Now. I've been following this guy for years. His videos are very soothing, I find. Like, they're borderline, like, kind of ASMR. And, yeah, I think he's another Quebec-based channel, which is kind of cool, but definitely does some pretty good work there. It's another channel if you're into repair videos, which I really like. It's Colby's Project Bin. He's this kid, and he kind of like what I do. He takes junk lots and kind of revives them and stuff. Pretty good channel, I gotta say. I was watching some of Colby's videos. Yeah, it does pretty good work, I gotta say. What do you think of scale trains? I don't own a crazy amount of their stuff, but so far everything I have bought from them has been really impressive. My only thing is that, you know, they're obviously incredibly expensive, so they're not like a steal, but at least they seem like high quality models. How about Winnipeg Railfan? I've watched Winnipeg Railfan. I watch more model railroad channels than I do railfanning videos, but yeah, their videos seem decent. Thanks so much for the super chat there, Paul. Hey, SMT, does the bridge connecting the yard and the main line get in the way when you need to get through the other side? So far, it hasn't been much of a problem because there's not too many reasons to be over on this side. And the whole reason I want to connect this yard right here is so that I can just use these switches, so I don't really have to be over there, but we'll see. If this becomes a problem, I can probably find another way to connect the rest of it to the layout. All Trains Considered is a great channel. Yes, I have been watching Ben's content. He makes pretty good videos too. A fairly new channel, which is kind of nice as well. Do you like NS Modeler 24? Yeah, I like his videos. I haven't watched his channel for quite a long time, to be completely honest, but that's not because I think his content's bad or anything like that. I just, I don't know. Some channels, it's not really like you have a falling out or there's anything wrong with their content. It's just, I don't know, one day you just start watching something else. But it does make good stuff. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ed Bately. Your channel's the best. Please do more trolley repair videos. Have you considered adding cameras on the layout without moving the camera around? I'm thinking it's time to build some sort of a system like that. I know Sparky and, well, the other Dave Scott Rails both have a multi-camera system, and it seems to work pretty well. I'm not sure how I would set that up, but yeah, it would be great. DIY and digital. I haven't watched a crazy amount of his videos, but from what I have seen, it seems like he's got pretty good advice. I feel like he's more of a like a point-to-point layout channel. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. I like Ron's trains and things. Is Ron still making videos? YouTube it, they have info on cameras. Have you ever visited Hearst, Ontario? I don't think I have. He's back. Oh. I like how you guys say solder, and it's like it's spelled like solder. Yeah, well, I know in England it's more like solder, or no, I can't pronounce it right. Solder, something like that. And in some parts of the United States, it's not just solder, it's like solder with an A in the middle. I need to solder this wire. Layout is looking great. I'm loving the track plan. I'm glad to hear that. I turned down the volume on my P42. It was set way too loud at the factory, if you ask me. I feel like if you were running this thing in at a club layout in a really big room, it would be a good thing. Down here, I agree, it is pretty loud, but at the same time too, having a speaker which is too loud is definitely the right problem to have. Because I've got some Bachmann sound value engines, and they're so quiet you can barely hear them over the sound of its own drive, so those are not great. Are you able to Y the train somehow? Not currently. I don't know if I'm going to add a Y, but I think that I'll probably have a reversing section, because once we build a bridge across here and this links back up, what I can do is I can run a train right across there, all the way around, and then back through here. So there will be ways to at least reverse trains, because for something like this, you know, you have to take each car on and flip it around. It's not the end of the world, but it would be way easier if you could just rotate the train. Is that 767 from? Yeah, it is from Unstoppable. Do you run plastic or metal wheels on your rolling stock? Almost completely metal. For any piece of rolling stock, even if it's older, if I run it a lot, I upgrade it to metal wheels. I'm not going to say I don't have any equipment with plastic wheels. I still have some, but my only issue with plastic wheels is that they can actually leave residue on your track, so you're going to be cleaning your track more often if you run a lot of stuff with plastic. But yeah, definitely worth the upgrade if there's a piece of equipment you really like. Are you still with Chloe? Well, if you mean as a relationship, absolutely. If you're talking about whether or not she's here, she just went upstairs, I think, to start making dinner. And the dog was also getting a little bit rowdy there. What's for dinner? I don't know, actually. Walther's mainline DCC is garbage. I've never worked with it myself, so I can't say, but that's interesting. Do you have the Vancouver Olympics Canadian Pacific unit? I don't think I do. Chloe's a good woman, likes your hobbies, good looking, and cooks you meals. She's a keeper. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, SMT. Welcome. Having trains as a hobby will keep you out of trouble. It's probably why my parents let me take over most of the basement. I guess they just figured, hey, if he's down in the basement playing with the trains, he's not out on the street getting into who knows what. I just got my first BNSF locomotive today for $20 and it's a runner. Well, congratulations. That seems like a pretty good deal. Is a Fremo layout a good option for someone with limited space? So I think that's a module layout. It might be because if you have to take it apart, like if you're planning on building multiple modules, you could take them apart and store them. So that's a benefit. It'd also be a benefit if you're part of a train club and you have something you can work on and then take to a much wider layout, which you can, run with other people. But I think that's really the only benefit. You could just build a 4x8 and store it on a wall, store it sideways if you want. I know some guys out there who do that. I'm Canadian. What's your favorite Canadian locomotive? Can you run it? I think my favorite Canadian locomotive is the Via P42. I wanted one of these things so badly, and I specifically this paint scheme. The Canada 150 paint scheme, I'm not going to call it bad, but I didn't like it as much as the this turquoise with the striping on the side. I was obsessed with this paint scheme when I was a kid. I still am. I really like it. Levi, well, thank you so much for joining the Well Folks Club. Trains can definitely get you in trouble if you're not careful when you're married. What you need to do is make sure the missus has a hobby that's more expensive than model railroading, and then, you can justify it that way. Buy the trains when she isn't looking. Yeah, what you do is you withdraw the money from your bank account in cash, and then you take that to the train store. Have you seen the 250 Duo? I don't know what that is. How many BNSF engines do you own? I want to say 10. Buy trains with cash, no evidence, unless she watches the train show haul videos. Yeah, I guess if you're making YouTube videos on your oh, same derailment. Yeah, if you're making YouTube videos, I don't think there's a way to get around that. But if what you do is you withdraw the money from the shared bank account in cash, and then when she asks where did the $800 go, you say, "Oh, I just took that out to buy some groceries." She's like, "Well, then where's the food? I ate it. It's all gone." I'm sure that will work. Not sure if it was that threw it off or what the case is, but second time we've had that derailment, so there could be a problem that needs to be fixed there. I don't know. I'm going to a train show tomorrow for the first time in a while, and I'm looking to get started with an HO layout. What should I be looking out for? Gee, I don't know. It's hard to say, because I mean, if you're just getting started off anything, I mean, obviously I would prioritize, if you don't have anything at all, getting like track, a controller, and some sort of a train to run on it. You know, you don't want to buy a million buildings and not have anything to run on your layout. But I feel like at train shows, if you have the money and the prices are good, there's not really anything wrong with going a little bit crazy with buying stuff, just because if you want to buy a lot of these things at train shops or on eBay and stuff, in all likelihood, when you factor in the taxes and the shipping and all that jazz, it's probably going to cost you more. So if you're at a train show and you do see a building that you like, or a piece of rolling stock you like, or a locomotive that you like, and it's a decent price, I really wouldn't hesitate. Just stock up, you know? Years ago, I was at a train show, and there was a guy selling a whole bunch of Pico switches, and in Canada, those things cost you about $30 a piece. He wanted $5 for each one, which was a steal, and he had 20 switches, and I bought all of them. So, you know, it was $100, and I remember walking away from the train show being like, wow, I burned $100, like, that's a lot of money. But then it's like, well, I ended up using every single one of those switches, so if I hadn't done that, I would have ended up paying $30 a piece, and I'm not going to do the math on that, but it's a lot more than $5. Let's see here, 30 times 20. I should be able to do this in my head, but I can't. $600. So yeah, pretty good savings. It's $35 for a River Rossi Hudson. That works a good deal. I got it 1 or 2 years ago. God, time flies at a train show. Yeah, if it's in working order, I'd say that's an exceptional deal. Hudson on eBay would probably cost you at least $70. So yeah, I feel like that's not bad. Is bringing cash better as opposed to paying with card or through Venmo, PayPal, etc.? I would say there are some benefits to using cash at a train show. I mean, I don't really know if I should be saying this on a live stream, but let's just say some fees might go away with some dealers if you're paying cash. That's all I'm going to kind of say there. So there's that. And it also just lowers the resistance of the deal because, you know, a lot of dealers, they don't want to be dealing with the added fees that credit cards charge and stuff. So, you know, they prefer cash. There's also a lot of dealers at train shows who will not even accept a card. Like, they're not a business. They're just some guy who's selling some old equipment that they have. So, you know, in that case, there's not really a choice. So, yeah, if you're going to a train show, go loaded with a good amount of cash. Sellers prefer cash. It's easier to make deals. Yeah, it's, what's the term? It lowers the friction. Same thing goes for buying stuff off Facebook Marketplace. Like, I don't know, if you're holding like a wad of cash, people are a lot more inclined just to, you know, sell something at a lower price because they're just like, hey, we've got the cash and it's good to go, rather than having to go cash a check or, you know, sort out bank stuff. Card works, but cash makes deals. Yeah, exactly. You missed a super chat. Whoops. And Paul says, your channels helped me restore 12 locomotives back to life. They belong to my friend's dad who passed away. I showed his mom and she was so happy. Thank you. Well, that means a lot to hear. That's great that these videos were able to help you. You know, it's amazing if you can fix a train like you did for somebody else, because, you know, it's not a skill that everybody has. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that have model trains that sentimentally mean a lot to them. So, yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful when you can do that for them. Some hobby stores like cash too. Yeah, I've been with a few who really appreciate cash. That mountain looks like it's going to be hard to fix. It should be pretty easy, actually. The real benefit to constructing stuff out of cardboard and deli paper is that this is very forgiving. Like, I can just build the structure out of this, hot glue it together, paper literally with enough glue over the grass and so on, paint over that, and then just add more grass and it will blend in. Like, you can kind of see, because I didn't get the paint perfectly right, where, you know, there actually has been holes in the paper over the years and I've just patched it. But if you do a good enough job, it's impossible. Like, this side of the mountain was built completely separate from this curve right here. If you watch my older videos, those were separate, but it's pretty hard to tell that those are two different pieces. Do you have an account on Twitch? No, I don't have any account on Twitch. The only other accounts I have for this channel are, I have a TikTok account, and I'm trying to think. I have a Facebook account, although that's not super active. Are you using NCE? I use Digitrax. Looks like you have room to build a small airport or a helicopter pad. I could add a helicopter pad. I don't know if I'm going to build an airport, though, because if there's any large spare amount of space, what I really want to build is Forest Fair Mall. Well, it did it again. Well, that should be some investigating for tomorrow. Typically a DCC 3 to 5 amp booster is good for an extra 5 amps. Yeah, well, and a lot of controllers like will tolerate quite a bit of amp load. Like, you have to be running a lot of stuff to need 3 to 5 amps. Like, I think this controller is either a 2 amp or a 1.5 amp, and modern engines only use about 1/10 of an amp. So you're never going to really need all that power. Like, the only time you're going to be using a ton of energy is if you're running a lot of older equipment, or if you have something like a steam locomotive, which has sound and it has a lot of lighting features, and it has especially a smoke unit, those use a fair bit of power because you're generating heat. But yeah, I don't. The only time I could see myself ever buying a 5 amp power booster would be if I was running like a club layout where you have, I don't know, maybe 20 engines on it. Your video restoring your grandmother's train was the best. It sure is great to bring back those memories. Yeah, it was really special getting to revive that one for her. I still have a few more for childhood trains, which I have to get going. At least I've got 3 out of 5 running again. Just 2 more, and that is it. What are the other 2? One is the Scotsman, and then the fifth one, I want to say, is German, and it's a 242. Kind of an irregular wheel configuration. Why do you upload in a month? I upload more videos than once a month. I know the last video was a little bit further. I think that it took me 2 weeks, or maybe it was 2.5 to get this one done, but that was just because building this layout in itself was quite time consuming. I'm hoping to get back to full-on weekly uploads in and amongst the shorts and the live streams and everything like that. It's just been a little bit hectic with setting up the house, so on and so forth. The week I built this layout was insane. We had an ice storm and the power went out. Like, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that is never, shown in the videos. I'm gonna have to get me a 5,000 watt generator, and then I can just run trains no matter what the weather is. Okay, now stuff is derailing in other parts of the layout. That's not good. Pico Insulfrog Code 83 switches are $80 each at Credit Valley Hobby. Scale Trains locomotives are $600 after tax. That's insane. The Pico switches I buy are about $30 a piece, so I don't know if they've gone up in price since the last time I bought them, or if that's for Insulfrog switches, but yeah. I'm in Montreal. I do see a lot of CSX and Norfolk Southern. A 10,000 or 12,000 K generator will run your entire house. Probably, I don't even know if I would need that much electricity, because the only really big power consumer in the house is the furnace, but I think that probably uses about 20,000 watts. So there's no way I'm going to be able to power the house for heat off a generator, but I think 5,000 would be enough to power most of the lights and run some appliances. You got to make a video showing off the whole route and the future plans. I'll be watching the video. Well, there is a complete track plan if you watch. I think it's the first video where I move this layout over here. It is featured in there, but yeah, there's going to be more in terms of actually building the layout throughout the rest of the space. How is that specific 1950s locomotive holding up after the repair? Can we see it pull a full freight train? I'm not sure which one you're referring to. I've fixed up a few 50s engines. $47.99 for code 83 switches at my local hobby shop in Windsor. Okay, well, I guess I better rush and buy the rest of the track I need for this layout, because that's gonna hurt. That, or I just buy a bunch of track at a train show. At this point, I think I'm just gonna buy used stuff. Like, I don't know, buying brand new things is getting ridiculous. When I bought the rail joiners to build this part of the layout, they were $10 a pack. And I know in the States they're a little bit cheaper because the Canadian dollar is pretty weak these days, but when I was a kid, I feel like it was like $3 a pack for those. Like, you know, it was pretty cheap, and now it's just it's getting insane. And I needed about 3 packs. So it was $30 just in little bitty rail joiners. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been a big fan of buying stuff used, and now with the way things are going, I think that is probably going to kind of rule the day around here. You still upload videos at the other house? And also, do you speak French? I don't know how to speak French very well. As for filming videos at the other house, I haven't filmed any more content over there. There is still quite a bit of equipment left there I need to go pick up, but that's about it. Eventually, I'll have the rest of that over here. Add the P4. Yeah, I can do the war bonnet engine. I think after this, I'll probably finish off the live stream because I'm pretty hungry, and I'm sure Chloe probably wants to just relax. Hey, SMT, guess who beat cancer this morning? Me. Well, congratulations, Grayston. That's great to hear. I've got a family member right now who's actually fighting cancer, and so far it's going pretty well, but hopefully it's a similar result. But I'm very happy to hear about that. That's a wonderful accomplishment. Is that a real train from the Santa Fe? No, this is a fictional paint scheme. Well, it's a real paint scheme, but it was never on a P42, so this is a fictitious combination. That was kind of funny. Boots down like, "Yarr." Pico track and switches are the best. Insel Frog switches only use electric frog switches if you have a short wheelbase engine. Yeah, well, that's why I use Electrofrog. It's just because I don't want to have to do the rest of the wiring. I usually do an electrical bypass on a lot of these switches, though, where I actually solder. Like, I cut this part of the plastic out and I solder these two rails together just so that you don't have to worry about there being electrical problems with this. But, yeah, I agree. I love the Pico switches. They're still made in England, which is really impressive. And they're very high quality. They last a long time. And the thing that I really like about them is that because they're both 00 and HO, you can run pretty much any kind of equipment and they'll work. So if you want to run some British engines, which are 00, they'll run on this. Whereas if you're using Atlas switches, some British equipment will work on it, but not always. Anyway, I think I'll finish off the live stream for this evening. Yeah, really happy with the results so far. I had a lot of fun running all kinds of different pieces of equipment here on the layout. And yeah, I can't wait to do some more live streams and actually get working on the rest of this because there's still a long ways to go. But yeah, definitely be fun. Didn't that train uncouple with a different engine? It uncoupled with a different engine, but this time the cars didn't uncouple, it derailed. So there's something about that corner right there. I don't know if there's a little bit of a kink. There was a lot of people in the video saying there was a kink in the track, and I didn't notice one because the daylight was running through it fine after I adjusted the track, but I don't know, maybe I need to re-examine that and just make sure, because it is funny that most of the stuff was running through there fine, and then this thing derailed. Like, Atherns are usually not very picky in terms of tracks, so yeah, you know, as I expected, there's some stuff I need to iron out, but not a bad start. Fundamentally, this was pretty reliable today. I'm at least happy with it. I hope you keep making videos, but I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Anyway, yeah, so I think I'll call it a night, but thanks all so much. Thank you. I'm starting not to be able to speak English. Thank you all so much for joining in this evening. I had a lot of fun chatting with all of you, answering questions, and some really generous super chats as well, and a lot of great stories as well. So yeah, I appreciate all of it. Anyway, have a wonderful night, everyone. Actually, just before I go, let me see if Chris is still live, if everybody wants to... I got a notification earlier. See if anybody's live and send you all over there if they are. No, never mind. Nobody else is live at the moment. Anyway, have a great night.